and welcome back to the Cozy Chair. Today I'm going to be talking to parents about chapter books and fun read-alongs. So if you're a kid and you're looking for a story, please go to another one of the books because today I'm going to be talking all about chapter books. So let me tell you first a little bit about me. When I was in 4th or 5th grade, we were asked to read The Bridge to Terabithia. And I was not a reader. I did not like to read. I was not going to read, and that was it. So if your kids act like that, it's totally normal. And they can still turn out to be great readers and enjoy reading. But just know that I was reading this book. I was having a really hard time understanding it, and a tutor pulled me into the library and said, "Come on, let's read this book together." And I said, "I don't want to. I don't want to read. I'm not very good at it. I'm slow, and I don't like the story." The reality of it was I was having a hard time keeping up with the story. Well, the tutor said to me, "Oh, you know what? Let's just skip this chapter and go to the next one." And I thought, can you do that? And he did. And he started to help me read through the next chapter where something very dramatic happened. Now, I'm not going to tell you what happened because if you haven't read Bridge to Terabithia, maybe you should. And then once there was a crisis that I had to solve, then I was all in. I had to see what was going to happen next. So the reason I bring this one up in the beginning is, first of all, if your kids don't enjoy reading, that's okay. If they are getting a little bored, try to skip a chapter or try to find a different book. Or there's many different things that you can do, but first and foremost, you don't have to make them finish every book. If they have to drag their feet through every single book, they just might not like it. So that's where my reading journey began, was Bridge to Terabithia. It was my beginning to loving reading. After I got into this and I saw that there were complex plots and there were things that were hard, things that were sad in books, things that, friendships that didn't always work out, then I was more apt to read. So this is where I started. Now, when I had kids and they got a little bit older, they were kind of phasing out of the picture books, which always made me a little sad, I still wanted to read. So I decided to go on a quest to find some of my favorite read-alouds. So first I read my son, Frindle. This one is so awesome. Can I tell you? Please, if you have kids from the ages of, let's see, maybe he was 6. If you have kids from 6 to 8, read Frindle. It's so clever. I really like books by Andrew Clements. I think he's a great author. I also think that kids love to read it. That's a lot of, remember Roald Dahl, and kids just loved his stories because they made the kids the heroes, right? So Frindle is a lot of fun, and it's about a very smart kid. So start with this one. It's a lot of fun. Then, as my kids got a little bit older, I read Charlotte's Web. I adore this book. It is one of the most read children's books. And when you read it, you'll know why. There is a lot of fun vocab that comes in here. It's all about the love of words. Well, not all about, it's all about a pig and a spider. But there is a love about words as the rat and other animals go in search of words that are good descriptions of this pig. So I really suggest you reading this book to your kids at some stage in their childhood. Okay, as my kids were starting to spread apart, then I was trying to decide what one would entertain older ones and younger ones at the same time. And by older, I mean only older by a couple years. I love Mrs. Pigglewiggle. The kids laugh so much when they hear these stories, all about kids and their horrible habits. They have horrible habits like not cleaning their room or being late or biting their nails. Whatever their horrible habit is, Mrs. Pigglewiggle can always cure them. Now, there's a new series that came out. I'm just starting the first one. It's called Missy Pigglewiggle, and it's about her. It's a newer author, so you can check those out too. But Mrs. Pigglewiggle are really fun if you're looking for something funny. And if you've got a kid with a bad habit, this is a fabulous book to read. Okay, now I hit a point with my kids where they had been read aloud to for a lot of hours and hours, but they were having a hard time jumping into their own chapter books. So I went in search of something that looked more interesting, not just words, but not just pictures, some kind of in-between place. And I found these fabulous books. These are fabulous. Okay, this one, let's talk about One Dead Spy first. These are called Hazardous Tales. There's a couple of them in the series. It's written by Nathan Hale, but look what it is. It's a comic book. It is. And guess what? It's awesome. It tells the actual story, okay, of what happened during the Revolutionary War. A Revolutionary War tale. So I could have said, son, you have to read nonfiction. Son, you have to understand the Revolutionary War. Boring, 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 boring. They don't want to hear it that way. If I give him this book, I'm like, dude, check out this cool book. Then he's learning about real facts, and he's doing it in a fun way, and super, super awesome for your boy readers that need a lot of more action and a lot more pictures, and they're not just going to sit down and read page after page of words. At least mine wasn't. And then I found this one for my daughter that is very similar. It is written like a comic book, but it was really a sweet story about friendships and friends that you make, friends that you keep, and friends that don't stick around forever. So this one's by Shannon Hale and Llewellyn Pham, and I really liked this as they were kind of having just kids hit walls in reading all the time, and that's totally normal. But don't let them stay there too long. Find something new. Find a different kind of book, whether it be a comic book, or maybe they do like nonfiction, or maybe shorter chapter books or longer chapter books. Okay, here's some other ones that we've read together as a family. I didn't bring all of them because there's so many of them, but BFG, a lot of fun. Another Roald Dahl book. Roald Dahl also wrote Fantastic Mr. Fox. Please read Fantastic Mr. Fox with your kids. It is a riot. I don't have a hard copy of that. I've just gotten a digital copy of that one. But my kids just roared with laughter with that one. And it is short. Try to use different voices. Lots and lots of fun. Okay, Holes, another absolute favorite. When we read Holes, we were on a vacation, and it was a vacation that included a lot of hours in the car. Use those hours in the car to make a lot of fun memories. Books are great. And then at the end, they can watch the movie. And then you can have a discussion about what did you like? What did you not like? Did you like the movie more? Did you like the book more? Chances are they'll like the book more. This book is fabulous. It's probably for the ages of 8 to 10, I would say. You can fudge on the years. You can get older than that, certainly, because I have, let's see, 12. It's still good at 12 years old. So this is just a fabulous one. In fact, it was great for me, and I am in my 30s, so I loved it. Okay, for younger kids, Mr. Popper's Penguins. Super fast, super short, super fun. Okay, I always look and see how many pictures there's going to be, how small the font is, to see if I'm going to read it to them or I'm going to ask them to read it, and I just kind of go off of those factors to see. Okay, now not all books are happy books. Some books are sad with a lot of emotion, but I still really like them. One of my favorites of those is Esperanza Rising. I read this with my daughter and I cried. It was a beautiful, beautiful story about working hard and finding out what things are most important to you. And it's about a little girl, I won't tell you everything, but who is very, very rich. She lives in Mexico and she has a lot. Well, through a series of unfortunate events, she has to lose everything. And it's a story about her family and their journey. And it's beautiful. If you have a young girl who's looking for a book or a book you want to read with your daughter, I would recommend Esperanza Rising. Okay, another hard book, but that I liked, I read with my daughter, is The 100 Dresses. This one, it is pretty short. I mean, look at that. It probably only took us a couple hours. And I don't read all at once. I just read 20 minutes at a time, maybe 20 minutes at night before they go to bed, something like that. And we just chip away at it really slowly. But both of us really enjoyed this book. It was kind of sad, so I'll let you know that before you start. But I did enjoy it. Okay, now as my kids have gotten older and I kind of pick up more, I'm not going to say sophisticated books, but harder books to understand than, say, something like Mr. Popper's Penguins or 100 Dresses, Mrs. Pigglewiggle. Those are very simple. On the top layer, you understand what's going on. As they get older, I move to more classics. I just finished reading Heidi with my daughter, and we both loved it. The key to finding a good read aloud is find a book that you will both like. I stopped reading to my daughter about 2 months ago, and I kept thinking, what is the problem? Well, the problem was I didn't like the book. I was not liking it. It was getting really boring. So I haven't finished that one. But it's time for us to find another good book, maybe a good classic. But anyway, Heidi has been really fun. I've also heard that Little Women is fabulous. I am ashamed to say I haven't read that one yet, but it's on my stack of books to read soon. And then I just wanted to share one of my absolute favorites, and that is The Giver. The Giver is a super powerful, deep, thought-provoking, question-asking book. I have read this with my oldest two, but I do leave out the chapter on stirrings. You can make your own decision about that. I don't explain that to them yet, and as they've gotten older, I'm sure that we will. We'll probably read this many times going forward, but I love the questions that they ask when we read this book. That brings me to another really important thing before I close up this video is spend time talking about what's happening. Not, okay, what color was she wearing? Don't ask for details. Don't ask, the boring stuff, but what would you do if you lived in that community? I mean, good grief. What if you lived in the community that the giver lived in? How would you feel? Would you like that? Would you like that if you were the mom? Would you like that if you were the kid? What would you like about it? Or what would you do differently? Or if you could make a community, what would you do? So books like this are my absolute favorite. So I don't have a copy. Let's see. Maybe I do have a copy. I don't have it with me right here. But one of my other favorites is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Fabulous. I love C.S. Lewis. I also like the books by J.K. Rowling. I love the Harry Potter books. But it's books like this and The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe that really get kids thinking about hard stuff and about questions. So put together a list of questions or just ask at the end and spend time talking, because as you're talking about these things, they are making some serious connections in their mind. And those connections will help them as they move forward in their English classes, as they get older, and as they start making papers and all of that crazy fun stuff. Anyway, those are just literally a few of my favorites. I have bookshelves and bookshelves of other books. So if you're interested in hearing about any other books, or if you have any questions, please email me at thecozychairclub@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you about your favorite books so that I can expand my library and my love of books. So thanks so much for coming. Please let me know if there's anything else you want to learn here on The Cozy Chair. Thanks so much for coming. Bye-bye.